Hi everyone, this is Mike, and I finally made a video. I haven't been making videos in a while, so much has been going on with my personal life. I'm not going to get into those. Instead, I'm going to get right into the topic, and that is my review of Horizon Zero Dawn for the PS4. I just completed the story, and the thing is interesting backstory. I got this game a while back, and I stopped playing it after a while because it got too hard. But then they introduced a story difficulty, so I went back and completed the game. Months later. So I was streaming my playthrough on Twitch at the time, but then when I went back to do it, I decided not to stream. I just didn't feel like going to the trouble of setting up a stream, so I just went ahead and finished the game on my own. This game has been getting a lot of praise. It does deserve quite a bit of praise. I do think they're kind of overhyping it a bit, but there is a lot to like about this game. I'm going to talk about what I liked first, and then I'm going to go what I didn't like. Okay, the concept, the backstory. I kind of had an idea of what it was going to be based on the E3 reveal trailer of a couple years ago, and I was right. I'm not going to get into it because I don't want to spoil anything for you guys, but I liked the backstory. It wasn't a surprise to me, but I still was interested, and it still was satisfying the way it was presented. And the world is pretty cool. You're a tribal girl who's hunting robotic animals. They say dinosaurs, but most of the creatures I noticed seem to resemble more modern animals, like birds and alligators and things like that. I didn't really see too many actual dinosaurs. There are some dinosaur elements in some of the creatures, and a couple of them I can think of. But for the most part, whenever a creature would resemble an animal, it would be, a modern animal usually. But it's still it's a pretty unique concept. The juxtaposition between the tribalism in the past versus the futuristic robots. Even though this is a post-apocalyptic future game that takes place centuries and centuries apart. The fun of it is discovering how it got that way. And again, I basically predicted how it basically was, and I was so happy with it. Now I'm going to get into the main character. I think Aloy is I would say for the most part would please SJWs. I feel like that's where they were kind of going with it. I feel like Sony is basically trying to get praise from SJWs because if you look at this game, The Last of Us and so on and so forth, the way that Aloy's character just seems very feminist. Now, I'm not going to say whether that's a positive or negative. It's a divisive thing. I don't want to get into that. But that is my impression of Aloy's character, is that she is basically feminist candy, for the critics. And I think that might be at least some of the reason why, at least the gaming media is praising this game so much. This is not an SJW game. I do want to talk about SJW games in the future because I think there's good and bad things to say about it, about that type of game. But I don't think that this is necessarily that. But I think the lead character certainly is feminist candy or feminist, praise, trying to get praise from the liberal crowds in the gaming industry and so on and so forth. And I think Sony's catering to that, and I think that's why the lead character is the way that she is. Take with it what you will. I'm not going to say whether that's positive or negative. That's just my observation of it. Now let's see what else. Let's get into what I like. I like that there's a lower difficulty. I liked how easy it was for the most part. I never ran out of medications. My health was always pretty high, but they managed to still keep the intensity of the battles. You know, your arrows you still struggle to do damage with arrows in times unless you have the elements. But the cool thing is that at least your health doesn't go down much, which is a great thing. At least on that difficulty. I'm not talking about the other difficulties because I always play everything on easy. Let's see what else. What do I want to talk about? Because, oh yeah, one of the things that's interesting about Aloy that I want to discuss is she. They make her vulnerable not through her vulnerability is not depicted through her character. Her vulnerability is depicted through gameplay. So whenever you're trying to take down a behemoth, you feel vulnerable, and I think that's where the vulnerability of Aloy as a character comes in. They manage to portray her weakness through gameplay rather than through cutscenes or rather through her personality. Because otherwise, because she's basically strong and can do all these cool things, but the way they portrayed her vulnerability was through the gameplay, through the intensity of the gameplay. Now I'm going to... So those are some of the things that I liked, and some other observations that I'm not going to say what I like or dislike. I'm just going to say they're observations. But now I'm going to get into the negatives. And these are minor nitpicks, but they add up. They do add up overall. And there's one in particular that I really don't like, which I'll get into last. One of the nitpicks is the way that that platforming is handled. If you've played this game, you've probably played all the Uncharted games. And I'm thinking, why not just make the platforming play like Uncharted? Not counting 1, because the platforming in 1 was wonky, but sequels were perfect, or near flawless. I wouldn't say perfect, but they're near flawless. We're used to that, so why not just make the platforming play like that? Because the way they have it set up is designed to not give you a lot of work, to be very hand-holding and just you sort of just push a button and it goes. But you don't know. There are times when you need to jump and there are times when you don't need to jump at all, and it's hard to tell which is which. And also, it's difficult to tell where to go sometimes when you're platforming. Sometimes they give you a yellow thing, but other times they don't give you anything, or the cliff, or the handles on the cliff, or an object they blend in too well. And you don't know that it's something that you can hold on to until you're holding on to it. So, that's one very minor gripe. I can't remember the second one, so I might as well just get into the final one, the one that I hated the most. And that is the way that fast travel is handled in this. You have to have packs, which are limited. You have to get packs somehow. And if you run out of space, in your supply, you have to empty stuff out just so you can get fast travel packs, just so you can fast travel. That shouldn't be necessary. That is completely unnecessary. Why not just when you go to a location, let's say you go to a settlement, you go to a fireplace, if you've been there, you should be able to fast travel there without any sort of thought. But no, they had to make it with packs, and it's just a bunch of unnecessary hoops that didn't need to be there. This is the biggest fault of the game, in my opinion. I really wish I could remember the second minor nitpick I had, but yeah, the biggest fault in the game for me, and this is what brings the score down a bit, is the way that they implemented fast travel. They tried to integrate it with resource management, and that is totally unnecessary. It just creates a bunch of hassles and headaches, and I found myself simply just wandering around the map, going from one place to the other when it was so far away, and I didn't want to do that. It would have been so much easier if I could just fast travel to where I've been, just like in most open world games. There's just no need for this hassle. Fast travel packs, bad idea. Please, when you do the sequel, get rid of the fast travel packs and just let me fast travel to any place that I have been, like most open world games do. That, in my opinion, is the biggest flaw of the game. It sounds like a minor thing, but when you have to travel, either have to figure out how to do resource management. You have too much supplies, you got to drop stuff. Go to a store and buy a fast travel pack, or you end up just having to run across the entire map from one end to the other when you're just trying to get to the story. Just that. So, what are my overall thoughts on what was my overall opinion on this game? Do I recommend this? Yes, especially with the lower difficulty. I do think it's a bit overrated. I don't think this is an A+ game. I think this is a B+ game for some of the flaws I described. This is a good, really good game. Not the masterpiece that everyone says it is, but it is a really good game, and I do recommend it. So this does get a thumbs up from me. Now I finally was able to complete it because of the lower difficulty, which I'm thankful for. Thank you for allowing people who suck at games like myself to experience the story and be able to come finish playing this, because I stopped playing it for months because it got too hard, and then the lower difficulty came out and I was finally able to complete it. And I do like this game overall. Music is phenomenal. Gotta mention the music real quick. Music is some of the best I've heard in a while. Really, really good score. Good score. Great score, actually. Interesting story, interesting world and lore and the backstory. Feminist icon, I think. I think feminist candy for the critics. Take with it what you will. Some minor bad decisions with saving and platforming, things like that. But overall, this is a good game. Not a masterpiece, but still a really good game. Definitely worth your time. It is unique, and it's very surprising coming from Guerrilla. And I think that's also part of the reason why it's getting hyped so much, is because it's so different than from everything else we've been playing. I mean, it's still a post-apocalyptic open-world game, but they put a unique spin on it, which allows the post-apocalyptic games to continue to be made. That's one of the things that Sony is doing pretty good with overplayed genres, is that they find a way to make unique uses out of them, or unique spins on them. Like The Last of Us was a unique spin on the post-apocalyptic zombie genre, and I think Horizon Zero Dawn is another post-apocalyptic genre game that puts a unique spin on that genre. So, yeah. So yeah, definitely recommend it. Definitely give this a thumbs up. And so with the lower difficulty, there's no reason not to pick it up now. So just keep in mind, I hope you're good at resource management, because otherwise you're going to be traveling the map from one to the other a lot. Anyways, that's all I got to say for now, and I will see you guys in a future video. I finished the story for Injustice, so I want to talk about that in the future. And I also I almost completed Halo Combat Evolved, but I can't get past the last part, which is the part when you're riding the Warthog to try to escape Halo before it explodes. Can't get past that part, and it's the one thing that is keeping me from completing that game. But yeah, thumbs up for Horizon Zero Dawn. Definitely check it out if you have a PS4 or a PS4 Pro. See you guys next time. Bye.